Well, now we want to go to an interview with Lexi Fontaine. She is otherwise known as the singing Elsa. She's a military spouse based at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. So we're going to bring her on now. She's got a cool story to share.
Well, it looks like we have our very own Disney princess right here today. Lexi, how did this come about?
I joined in. It started with the father of a family in our neighborhood. His name is Jared Carey. His wife is active duty. He is previously active duty. I believe he's reserves now. But they have two kids, and their youngest is a little girl. She's 2, and she loves everything Disney, everything princesses, and she is totally obsessed with Elsa. When all of this started happening with COVID-19 and people being placed on stay-at-home orders and stuff, he was like, how cool would it be to be able to put some magic in a time like this, where things are so dark and so uncertain. And so one night he was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to walk outside. I'm just going to do the Elsa call. And so he went outside and he did the siren call. And I found out about it a couple of days after he started it, and I was like, this is the coolest thing.
Will you sing the Elsa call with me? If I sing it, will you sing it back to me?
So what it is in the movie, in Frozen 2, Elsa is, there's a song she sings called Into the Unknown. If you have a child, your child probably sings it 10 times a day. But there's a voice that's calling out to her, and the call basically goes, and throughout Into the Unknown, Elsa sings back and forth with this voice as it's calling her out over the mountains. And it happens at nighttime in the movie when there's lights in the sky and stars. And so he was like, well, let's do it at night. And that way kids will walk outside and it's like they're hearing the voice from the movie. I don't know, it's just really, really cool. And it's, for me, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do like driveway concerts at night if I don't get in the car and ride around, and I'll get out there and I'll do the Elsa call in between songs that people and their kids request. So
you're riding in your car around the neighborhood as Elsa. That's what you're doing?
yeah, so that was how it started with the costume. So the first few nights I participated, I just did it as Lexi. I had promised a few parents that I know in the neighborhood that I would ride over in my car and sing to their children. And one of my friends has a little girl who, she messaged me the night that I was coming to visit them, and she was like, so she's going to be wearing her own costume and she's going to be holding Olaf. And I was like, okay, hold on. I was like, I have an Elsa costume. I'm not sure it's gonna fit, but give me a second. And so years ago, 2015, I was doing princess performances at charity events and at children's hospitals and things like that. So I accumulated a few different high quality costumes back then. But with my health issues, they haven't fit me in a few years, and so I was like, we'll see. I was like, why not? Just try. And I pulled out the wig and I pulled out my whole costume, and lo and behold, it fit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And so I got in the car, my husband drove, and there's videos of me like out the window talking to people's kids as Elsa. For me, it's a really fulfilling thing because I think that what we're all going through right now is so hard, even as adults, because it's so uncertain and it's so dark. But for kids, I almost would say it's worse because they really don't understand the scope of what's happening. And so being able to add some magic and wonder and imagination back into life right now for them is really important to help them have the resilience to be able to get through this because they really don't fully understand what's happening.
You look just like Anna! Is that Olaf? Oh my goodness, hi! Will you do the Elsa call with me if I do it first?
What's been the community's response?
So I think that one of the coolest things for me is when I started doing it in my driveway, even just as Lexi, I've had people coming up and parking along the sidewalk in front of our house and watching out of the windows of their car, and their kids are like singing along and doing the call back to me from the windows of their vehicles. So like people are finding, allowed our community to find ways to connect with each other without having to like jeopardize our health or our well-being. And so it's been really interesting for me to see how well our community has gone about adapting to these circumstances and figuring out, okay, how can we still manage to connect with each other and bring good things and joy into the world right now when things are very, very different than anything any of us have ever experienced. And so the community response has been really cool. I mean, families, so many families on every street for a while, they were like going out at night and just doing this. You would hear it all over the neighborhood echoing through the sky. It was the most amazing thing. Um, and honestly, like I will say, the Elsa Call is a really awesome thing, but there have been so many other things that our community has done along like this same direction. Um, and it's just been really amazing to see people come together because I think a lot of what we're seeing news wise right now on social media everywhere, some of it is very negative and it's very disheartening. And so to me, to live in a community where I'm having the opportunity to see so many people giving everything they have to make this time as joyful and positive as it possibly can be. That's really inspiring for me, and I'm just grateful to be a part of that.
I think we're going to need a sample of your Elsa song. Can you leave us with a sample?
Absolutely. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel my power grow. Don't you know there's part of me that longs to go into the unknown?